Okay, folks, I'm in a wonderful mood tonight. Why? Because I just got off the phone with none other than Eric July. That's right, Eric July, founder of Rippaverse Comics, writer of ISOM number 1, the first comic offering from that new and illustrious company, and also a comic book that I've done 11 videos critiquing. So it was great to be able to finally directly share my thoughts with Mr. July about the comic. And, if you want to take a look at my videos, go to my Rippaverse playlist and look especially for the ones where the page numbers are clearly marked. There's about 11 of those videos, all with the same kind of trade dress, and you will find my thoughts from top to bottom about ISOM number 1 in there. So, if you managed to watch the video, then you know everything that happened. If you didn't manage to watch the video, but you're noticing any comments or memes coming out of that, you might hear something about names, fights, trucks, and stairs. and I'm going to go through those items on here. I want to kind of go through what he and I talked about really briefly because, number one, his live streams go members only after they play in public, so you won't be able to see the live stream conversation between him and me in its entirety unless you were to, be a member of his channel. So you can go join and be a member of his channel. I don't know how much it costs on a monthly basis to do that. Or, if you just want to hit the high points, we can hit the high points here. So basically, I had some main complaints about ISOM, and I want to go over like my top 5 out of them. Just to kind of explain some of the stuff that you might come out of hearing in there. One of them was about character names. Now, I made a video specifically about this in my 11 videos on ISOM number 1, but just for the too long didn't read kind of portion, there's a lot of characters in this book that go without ever being named. I mean, even a last name, sometimes even a first name. Or sometimes it takes several pages before we get a last name or a first name out of somebody. And sometimes we never get that information. For example, the main enemy in this book, who's pictured right here, that's Darren Fontano. I've been calling him Darren Fontaine for the last I don't know how long, because I think that's what somebody called him at one point, and I didn't know any better. Because it's not anywhere in the book. I mean, imagine if Superman went up against Lex Luthor and he just called him Lex the whole book. I mean, that's all you know him as is Lex, but I mean, does that have the same gravitas as Lex Luthor? I mean, don't you want your characters to have name recognition? Don't you want readers to be able to talk about your characters intelligently instead of saying, oh yeah, the police captain guy at the beginning, or oh yeah, there's 2 shady characters bouncing around purple energy in the club, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can't even talk intelligently about these characters in the book. You wind up kind of forgetting them because, if you not even going to mention their names, why even remember them? Are they important at all? You would think that people who get names are important. And even the main character, Avery Silman, you never find out his last name until Darren says it, and that's practically a third of the way into the book. So, names are important for your characters. They give you little hooks to put in your reader's brain and get name recognition there. And be able to kind of set up a cast of characters. And unless it's going to be some like shock, where, oh my gosh, well, if you knew his last name was Fontano, then that would reveal secrets from, X down the road. Well, then, yeah, I mean, keep it a secret. But if there's no reason to keep it a secret, you may as well tell us the guy's first and last name. Okay, so that's names. What about fights? Well, I mean, we did discuss the infamous fight scene between Santuan and Avery, where you basically got Santuan and Avery going to do the biggest, apparently, chest bump of all time. Now, the way that he described it was, this is kind of like a scene in manga, which, that's not American comic style, so, why are you writing it? Why are you drawing in a style that's for, a different kind of comics reader? But you've got this thing, that basically they're both squaring off, and I'm expecting something more than them just skidding backwards. And apparently, the only person who has complained about that is me. And people who haven't bought the book. So that doesn't put me looking in a good light, and from what Eric said a lot of people are pulling images from my video, showing him and saying, hey, see this? This is one of your customers saying that you've got something wrong here. So I'm supplying them with ammo, as it were. But fine, I mean, I agree with them on this, and they agree with me on that this is a problem in that particular sequence of panels. I look at that sequence and I say, where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be a kaboom. And there's not. There's just a fizzle. So there's other sequences in there. There's a sequence where, they're supposed to be going through a wall, and I can't tell that they're going through a wall because you only see them going like halfway. Like here. I mean, does that look like they're through a wall? I mean, can you tell whether or not there's daylight on the other side of that wall? I can't tell. Yeah, it isn't until you get down here, and it took one of my own followers telling me that they'd gone through the wall to kind of make that clear. So that was a matter of communication, and really when it came down to the fight choreography business, a lot of what I was trying to get through to him was the fact that, look, you know what the book says. You're the author. You know what the artwork is supposed to communicate. But whether it succeeds in communicating that is important. And it can be a function of the reader's comprehension. Can the reader comprehend what it is that he's seeing? And I've had portions that I just flat out didn't comprehend seeing. But then I'm looking at that and saying, okay, well, I'm comprehending it, but I definitely don't like it. I don't think it makes any sense to have it drawn that particular way. And I don't think it communicates all the power that it could in that particular scene. So you have to also ask yourself, if these things are not being communicated, is that necessarily the reader's fault? Because it also could be the fault of the artwork. It's not, or the fault of the dialogue. For example, one of the things that he took me to task over was, why didn't I know that this guy was the governor and not the mayor? Because here it talks about former Governor Schreck left the South Side high and dry. Okay, fine. Former Governor Schreck left the South Side high and dry. But that doesn't mean this guy is the current governor. I mean, you have to assume that. Now, he might think, because he already knows that this is the current governor, that we're going to know that too. But you know what would have helped us? A little chyron or something on here saying Governor so-and-so. Because I don't know this governor's name, for one thing. Don't you think that's kind of important? You name the former governor, and you don't name the current governor? What the hell? So, yeah, that's one of these things, is you think the name's not important, but that's because you already know it. But your reader doesn't. And the implications that you think are going to communicate all this information to the reader are not necessarily as strong as you think they are. And it's got to be an outside perspective that says, oh, okay, yeah, this is, I understand what this is communicating. And honestly, I know he's got some editors that work on this thing, but I don't feel like they're competent. Seriously. Okay, so we also talked about trucks. We talked about trucks. We have to talk about trucks now, because what I brought up was what I felt was a coloring error in the book. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a coloring error. It could just be two different trucks that are colored the same, but it makes the scene confusing. And it was this scene here. It's a 2-page scene in which Avery's assistant, Sam, who is basically overseeing Avery's ranch in Avery's absence, Sam is driving a truck of the same color as this guy here who's leaving. Now, I just basically said, number one, we see Sam driving a truck later in the book, that is a grayish-brown color. So if this is Sam's truck, shouldn't that be a grayish-brown color? And basically what I was told was, no, these just happen to be two trucks that happen to be the same color, but they're different trucks. And as I said in my video on the same matter, I said, even if they're two different trucks with the same color, they should have been colored different, just so we know that this kid is not getting into that guy's truck. Because it makes the scene confusing. But that's nitpicking. It's just nitpicking. And everybody on that channel, I tell you what, after I got off the thing, is like, oh, why didn't you have the truck's license plate on there? License plates could have told them together. And the irony, of course, is that at the very beginning of the book, I actually do complain about a license plate. I kid you not. I kid you not. Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I didn't complain about a license plate. I complained about the whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Camry, Cairo, whatever this fake lettering is on the back of the truck. I feel bad about that now. I should have remembered, but I thought it was the license plate. Okay, well, they'll see it if they look at the videos. Okay, what else? What else besides names, fights, and trucks? Names, fights, and trucks, and stairs. Stairs. We can't forget stairs. Because Avery, when he's going back and looking around for, what's her name, Jasmine, all of a sudden we see Jasmine descending these stairs. Okay, where the hell are these stairs? I don't know where these stairs are. Are they located as part of Club Merc? Because there's no outside view of Club Merc until 4 pages after this page that shows me where these stairs are. And I didn't communicate this very well in the video, so let me just try and do a better job of that now. You want people to know where the hell your characters are at any given moment. You know, that's something that you can't neglect. You can't neglect laying out the land and saying, okay, you've got a building with stairs on this side, and here comes this young woman walking out of these stairs, and here comes Avery and her passing each other by, but we have no idea where they are in relation to each other prior to that. I mean, did she walk around the corner of the building and then pass him? I don't see where the... Shoot, I don't even see where there's a building. Oh, God. Yeah, this is bad. Well, anyway. I mean, if you look at this page, you're not going to know where the hell these stairs are in relation to them two walking past each other and Avery realizing, oh, wow, that's the girl I'm looking for in the first place. And it's not until you get, like, 3 pages down that you ever see those stairs again. So it's like, where the hell have they been all this time? Have they been on this side of the club, that side of the club? Is this club, isolated around where you've got, parking on all 4 sides? It's like, where the hell are these things happening? So anyway, I got that in one of my other videos too. But the last item I am going to talk about is this scene, because this one's just eyebrow raising. It is this scene that I called a lettering fail. I was basically trying to pass it off on either Eric Weathers or somebody else, who got this wrong. But this particular scene says, do they have girls around the spot? Doesn't look like much of a strip joint. That's because it's not, but the spot is the spot. I doubt drinks are the only thing on the menu. Now, I read it like that, and it doesn't make any sense to me like that. The way that I thought it should be read is, do they have any girls around the spot? Doesn't look like much of a strip joint. Well, that's because it's not, but that spot is the spot. I doubt drinks are the only thing on the menu. And he flat told me to my face that no, it's supposed to be the other way, which makes no damn sense. And it's like, okay, I mean, I can't deny it. I can't deny that he wanted it to read that way, but I have no freaking idea why. Because the other way makes sense, and he even admitted that the other way makes sense, but he actually wanted it the first way. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, at some point, you can't argue with the author. I ran into this a long time ago with Paul Jenkins when he and I were talking about The Sentry. And he said that The Sentry Book 1, which was the original 5-issue miniseries from Marvel that introduced the character, and then there was the 12-issue miniseries that he did with John Romita Jr. after that. I basically said that these two were not in continuity with each other. He said, oh, no, they are. And then I argued with him. I said, well, no, because in this particular book, you had the relationship between the Sentry and the Void like this, and then in the second book, you had the relationship between the Sentry and the Void like that. And he says, no, the Sentry and the Void relationship was the same as it is in the second volume, the way you're describing it, and it was that same relationship in the first volume. And I was about to argue with him on that, and then I realized I can't argue with him. He's the author. And, the same thing applies to this bit of dialogue. I just don't understand why he's basically saying that the way he wanted to write it was nonsense, when I'm basically saying, well, here's the sensible way that I think anybody else approaching that panel would have written it. But, I mean, what do you do? So, yeah. So that was basically the extent of our conversation. I mean, I got halfway through it, and then I realized that he was just basically going to shove most of everything that I was saying in the nitpicking category. like I was just looking for things to call wrong. And problem is like those things are there. You know, when you don't give us your characters' names and you just leave us in the dark, that's not, I mean, that's a stylistic choice, but it can be a wrong stylistic choice too. And when you have people like me who are dissatisfied readers, I mean, you know, the only thing that is going to change his mind on any of that kind of stuff is more readers like me who bought the book and who are irritated about the things that they found in the book. You've got to speak up, because you are the people who are in charge of, ultimately in charge of whether or not these books improve. And if I'm going to put out any kind of message by this video at all, it's going to be this. You who have read ISOM number 1, you who have bought and paid for and are customers of Eric July and have read ISOM number 1, and you see something wrong with it, speak up. Speak up, because right now he is cresting on this idea that all of the readers out there, with the paltry few exceptions of people like me who are willing to stand up and complain, are just fine with everything, that they loved everything, that everything was great, that this was just, just top-notch quality book. And I'm looking at that saying, these people have either never read comics before, which is true in a lot of cases, or these people just don't feel like complaining. They just want to be part of the club, and they just want to, not rock the boat. I'm saying rock the boat. When you see something wrong that can be improved upon, say so. Because, one lone voice crying out in the wilderness, which is all I am really, is not going to get the job done. That's going to be up to the rest of you readers. So, I'm Mike Partika. Thank you for watching. Thanks especially to Eric July for making this a wonderful day for me, because I absolutely loved the conversation. And if you do, I hope he makes a video, especially out of the whole thing about Thomas Sowell and black rednecks and white liberals, because I get to cover some of the material in my 10th video on ISOM, talking about Avery Simmons' attitude and how it evinces the character of the black redneck on there, which I'm not sure he was terribly happy about. Because although I think he has read the book, I don't think he was necessarily trying to make Avery into that. But I think some of that slipped through. But, again, it's his book. It's up to him to say what it was he was trying to accomplish on there. And, of course, there's always such a thing as unconscious reading. You can see that just from my Heroes in Crisis when I was the Captain Adam Raven thing. Go check out that video on Heroes in Crisis, and you'll see what I mean. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I'm Mike Partika. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Please do speak up if you see anything with ISOM number 1 that you think needs fixing. And the same goes for ISOM number 2, number 3, and all the other Rippaverse books going forward, because he needs that feedback, and he needs that feedback from paying customers who are willing to stand up and say, this book could be better. Maybe if enough of us stand up, he'll believe it. Again, Mike Partika, do subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Bye.